Alhamdulillah, thank you Datuk for the officiation speech of REdI 2021. Proceed with next agenda. I would like to call upon Mr. Selvan to conduct the next session entitled Forum Industry Outlook Shaping Resilient Talent. The floor is yours.
Very good morning, everyone.
Very good morning,
all
everyone.
All the panels, the audience and the viewers also. That I believe that the students are watching us through the Facebook and other mediums. And today will be before that I'd like to wish you everyone a happy new year 2021, and hope that this new year will be a great start, where we have had backed up a lot of things that in 2020. Now I am Selvan, and I will be your moderator today for your sessions. I'm an HR consultant, coach, as well as a trainer, and also founder for the Inspire People venture. And we have today in-house that we have 4 panelists that let me introduce one by one. First panelist, Mr. Amir Zakwan Anuar, Chief Strategy Officer for Aerodyne Group. All right, so welcome to the session today.
Morning.
And morning. Second panelist will be Prof. T.S. Dr. Mohamed Ibrahim Abdul Mutalib. Hi, Prof.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah,
Right.
Good morning. And then panel number 3 will be Mr. Jeffry Azraai Rosedin. He is the head of corporate affairs and a government relation ground team REdI. It's an Asia Berhad company.
Hi, morning.
Morning. Mind to on your video so that viewer can see you. Yeah. Last but not least will be IR TS Rahman Bahasa. He is a founder and a CEO from Recove Group, Syndrome Berhad. All right.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
Morning.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go through a bit of background of each and every panel. All right. So we start with Mr. Amir Zalwan Anwar, with his master's in international business from Monash University. He started his career as an associate in the investment industry, and then climbed on his corporate ladder to assistant vice president investment under the Khazanah National Berhad. He was there for almost 8 years, and currently he is the chief strategy officer at the Aerodyne Group, and also director at FEDS, Falcon Eye Drone. So is it so Mr. Zakwan, you want to add anything else on your introduction?
No, I think that sums up very nicely. Thank you, Selvan.
Okay, all right. Let's move to our second panel. Prof. T.S. Dr. Mohamed Ibrahim Abdul Mutalib. So he is the Prof started Prof, mind I call you Prof, yeah?
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Yeah. Prof Ibrahim started his education as a chemical engineer from University of New South Wales, Sydney, and obtained his master's and also a PhD from Manchester United of Science and Technology. Right? And then he started his career as an assistant lecturer at UTM, and joined UTP as a senior lecturer, later promoted as associate professor in 2002. And professorship, he obtained a professorship in 2014, respectively. At UTP, Prof. Ibrahim had several senior management positions, and he involved and formulate UTP transformations plan aimed to develop UTP into a global recognition research university. Back in 2013, July 2013, he was appointed as a Dean of Faculty of Engineering, and April 2016, taking a management role as a Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic, and appointed as a Fellow of Academic Science Malaysia, ASM, in the discipline of Engineering and Computer Science. And then move on the 2018, he took the office as fourth Vice Chancellor of UTP. Prof, you want to add anything else?
I think that sums it perfectly, Selvan. It's long already.
Okay, thank you. I try to summarize because you have a long list. Okay, next panel will be our Jeffry, Azraai, Rosedin. Jeffry holds a master's in communications from Deccan University and graduate with a bachelor degree of business and commerce from Monash University. During the course of his career, he have garnered experience in corporate communications, policy development, strategy, and project management in both public as well as a private sector. Jeffry served as a special officer to the Ministry of Transport back in 2015 to 2018, and 2013 to 2015. Prior to that, he was with the Talent Corp Malaysia, a government agency tasked to attract, nurturing, and retain local talent. All right. And currently, he is the head of corporate affairs and government relations at the Ground Team REdI, GTR, in short form. His journey at the GTR started in August 2018, and he's joined as a business analyst manager. All right. So Jeffry should be good.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all.
Okay. Good. Last but not least, I asked Engineer T.S. Abdul Rahman Bahasa started his education as a electronic engineer at the Universiti Tun Usain Malaysia, and continued his master's in business administration, and currently is a PhD candidate at the Universiti Teknologi Mara. Started his career as the electronic engineer in Pasir Gudang, and climbed his corporate ladder as a project engineer and as well as project manager. Currently, he is the founder, chief executive officer at the Recove Group, Syndrome Berhad. So, Engineer Abdul Rahman, is it okay? You want to add anything else?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move directly into the session today. Through the present crisis has intensified the survivalist mood with the spotlight on the polar retrenchment as well as the public health. Honest, the pandemic can serve the welcome report with the business as usual. By diving into data on the company plan in 2020, together with what organizations are doing right now, we can gather insight into which business are best placed to survive and which skills are allowed to reinvent post-COVID-19. So today's our discussion or sharing sessions, which focus on industrial outlook, shaping resilient talent. So that will be our topic today. Survivalists know the importance of two key traits: preparedness as well as resilience, for the company as well as for individual. It is clear, for example, an early adaptations or early adopter of a digital enabler working are better shaped than the other faced in the challenges imposed by the coronavirus. Now, with that in mind, let me place my first questions to our panel. Please share the latest update from your respective field or industry, how COVID-19 has shaped your industry. I open up. Anyone can start with.
You want me to start, Selvan, or
Can you can start.
right? Okay. Given that we are from higher education, I guess probably I should start first for my fellow panel respond. Right. Okay. Now, I must admit that to a certain extent, the COVID sort of caught us by surprise. Yeah. Um, though it has caught us by surprise, but I have to be thankful to my predecessors, because UTP, in a way, we have actually embarked on using online technology and sort of online teaching and learning approach, which we started way back in 2015, as a matter of fact, when we established our Center of Excellence for Teaching and Learning. Now, there are two angles that I see the impact that really strongly hit us. One is the platform that you use in order to deliver, because you have no choice. You've got to do your delivery online. Like it or not, that's the choice given. Yeah. So you've got to do it online. So there are two angles. One is the platform you use. Two is how well does your academic staff actually adapt it. Yeah. So in our case, we have sort of trained our academic staff to do, or rather to use the technique of active learning, cooperative learning, collaborative learning, and also to sort of prepare and make their lecture materials, assignment available through the online platform, right? So in a way, it wasn't too bad for us in order to condition and train further our staff in order to deliver their delivery online. Now, secondly, is on the platform. The platform, although we are ready to a certain extent, and we are quite fortunate to the fact that because our parent company was already using MS Team, yeah, so we can sort of ride on that availability, Petronas, yeah. And on top of that, we introduced Big Blue Button, which we sort of complement to the MS Team that we had in order to launch and execute the platform for our online delivery. So in a way, it wasn't that bad, although initially there were quite a number of, particularly on the platform, yeah, because you are dealing with student, the constraint that the student had in terms of accessibility to network, to online, yeah, to internet, yeah, which is beyond our control. But as time goes on, we were able to facilitate them, provide them with the free internet access that we worked out with our vendor, and as time goes on as well, I guess the provider, the network, the internet provider has managed to enhance the efficiency and putting up a bigger loading to a certain extent. That has helped us. That has helped to smoothen up because the whole nation has to rest on doing online. So that is the part that I guess I can share at this point in time to give way to my fellow panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Second panelist that can share.
Yeah, I guess I'll take it. So I think from Selvan, so from a industry perspective, I mean, Aerodyne, we are a technology company. At the end of the day, we provide technology solutions for companies like that play in critical infrastructure, agriculture, surveillance, and stuff like that. And our mission is really to enable the usage of our technology suites, like, for example, data analytics, artificial intelligence, drones, etc., in really making all these operations more efficient and provide more data for better data-driven solutions, right? Or data-driven decisions to be made. So because of the pandemic, which I think Prof rightly mentioned, this is unprecedented. Nobody would have predicted it, right?
Yeah.
I think we, from a digital perspective, from a technology perspective, we were always on the path of adoption. Eventually, this technology will be adopted, but because of this pandemic, this has really accelerated the adoption of such technology. At the end of the day, the focus has always been low touch, less human, less labor intensity, more technology to facilitate the day-to-day running of operations. So from our perspective, we are at the right place at the right time, because that's exactly the bread and butter of what we do. The tagline that we have at Aerodyne is that we do things faster, better, cheaper, safer, right? Because we use aerial robots, we use things like big data analytics, artificial intelligence, and stuff like that, which really reduces the intensity of human involvement in these management of assets of our clients. And at the end of the day, these assets, like it or not, whether there are humans or no humans, MCO or not, still need to be inspected, because at the end of the day, the continuity of Malaysia and also other parts of the world depends on the basic infrastructure enablers like electricity, for example, telecommunication, power, water, for example. And these are the sort of the basic necessities which enable a country to run, and we manage those assets using. So at the end of the day, we see, the message that I'm trying to push here is that this adoption to this move to digital, this move to technology, it was inevitable anyway, but this pandemic really accelerated the growth curve of adoption to these kinds of technologies. And if you need evidence, if you need further evidence, just look at the stock prices of Zoom, for example, right, which have gone off the roof ever since the pandemic started. But I think I'll open it up to other panelists as well to share their inputs. Thank you.
That will be great. Good insight. Next will be Mr. Engineer Abdul.
Yeah. I will. Yeah. I can agree with Mr. Amir Zakwan just now. For Recove Group's Berhad, is basically we are focusing on the doing the stuff related to the medical device. So because of this pandemic, to be specific, our current medical device is doing the monitoring of the health or whatever related to the neonates or babies. So because of current pandemic, there is some sort of feelings that the parents are unable to bring their babies to the hospital because of the spreading of the virus. So it's become a critical that we need to have a very efficient and remote monitoring in the medical and healthcare industries. So that's why I quite agree with I really agree, I 100% agree with Amir Zakwan just now. The pandemic is basically had reshaped the environment of our healthcare industry. We are more towards the what we call it health monitoring, data analysis, everything. If you can see nowadays, the data is very important and critical. We can see every day our Director General of Health had reported numbers, how many is the infected virus, COVID-19 virus patient and whatsoever. From that, we can analyze the data and we can reshape back what is the strategy in order to tackle this pandemic issue. So in our in Recove Group's Berhad, yes, time because the basis is our company is not only doing the medical device, but we also embedded the current technologies such as the IoT, data analytics, and whatever it is that related to Industrial Revolution 4.0. I would like to share a little bit that current trend that happen in industry right now. For now, I believe Aerodyne is doing quite well because you have the artificial intelligence, machine learning, I believe. So it's quite similar what happened in healthcare industry. We are going towards to use the artificial intelligence machine learning, automatic translation whatsoever. But of course, this is quite new in healthcare, especially in our country, because we are really dependent on the current, what we call it, system that already have in the industry. So it's a little bit, a lot of things need to be done.
Hello. I think there is a network issue. Okay, it's back. Okay. Engineer Abdul Rahman.
Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Okay.
Everybody
Because
can hear me?
you are freeze just now. Okay. Please continue.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to repeat. Basically, I can say that even though we have a lot of things need to be done in the healthcare industry, because we are dependent on the current system, current backbone, and the way how the norm that the medical practitioner doing the things. But it's not impossible because the pandemic helped us to accelerate more further to implement the current technology, especially in IR 4.0, to be specific in AI and also data analytics. So this is from me.
Okay. Thank you. I'm keep hearing the word like adoption, reshape, as well as accelerate. Okay, let's hear from Mr. Jeffry.
Yeah. Hi. So, ground team rate, we are a ground handler. So for those who are not familiar, basically we do the check-in, the cargo. As long as the aircraft is on the ground, it's our responsibility, just short of engineering and refueling, etc. So now this pandemic is very interesting because it's affected the aviation industry and travel hospitality, because our borders remain closed. We cannot gather in large numbers. So it kind of defeats the purpose of traveling and everything. And as long as for the time being we can travel domestically, and that helps, but only to a certain extent. So as long as international travel is not allowed, especially here in Malaysia, it's very difficult for the aviation industry. But on the flip side, I agree with all my fellow panelists here when they talk about adoption of technology and being data driven. So, I mean, Air Asia is one of our. We are part of the Air Asia group, and we are also part of the SATS group in Singapore. So these two companies are quite technologically driven. Air Asia, they've been pushing for web check-in via your handphone, to minimize the traditional norms of flying, and your airport experience before you fly. So the same thing applies to us, the new SOPs, like, especially people are worried about touch and all that, has helped to increase the acceptance of technology in that process before you fly. So now you check in, it's you can check in via your phone, you can check in via your the website. Some of this which has been going on, but now that the acceptance, that norm to avoid contact, to avoid touch, has been widely accepted because of the circumstances we find ourselves in. And this also applies into our operations, where we can start pushing more technology in our day-to-day operations, instead of traditional pen and paper exercises, because now we have to work from home. We have limited staff in the office. It's only operation staffs at one point. So the acceptance of technology is increasing day by day, and it also helps us to push some of our own products and our own improvements with technology, because again, like I said, the acceptance is there. So for us in the aviation industry, it's a bit of a bit of both. Yes, the pandemic has hit us very badly because we can't fly, but at the same time, it has also allowed us to grow technologically.
Okay, thank you. So I always can say that even the technology had assisted the industry to move on with the try to tackle the barriers within the particular industry, right? So we can agree on that. Even before the current uncertainty, organization plan. They have a plan on the downturn signal that might turn future of work strategy as a survival tactic. According to Mercer 2020 Global Talent Trend Study, in the event of unfavorable microeconomics condition, companies said that they plan to increase strategy, especially on the partnership. It have shown that almost about 40% of it use more variable talent pool, that is 39%, as well as the invest on automation, that is a 34%. So my next questions for the panel, what are the current trend in making, and how future of work strategy impact on workplace as well as a workforce? So there are the three categories that we are looking at it, the future of workplace as well as a workforce. So maybe Mr. Jeffrey, that you want to start with?
So just to recap what you said, it's about how technology has shaped how resilient talent, how talent needs to be adaptive to. So look, for us, from my company's perspective, technology is fast becoming a part of our daily operations. So we're trying to change for example, our cargo line business. So aviation cargo used to be a very pen and paper driven exercise. You got to fill up forms, you got to fill up the airway bills, send it, etc. So now everything we're to minimize errors, and keyword here is data, to have all the data available. Everything is done online. So actually in our operations we use handheld devices. My cargo agents use handheld devices, so they can scan it. They know where the cargo is headed to, the airway bill, where all the information is available on them. So for talent these days, that acceptance of technology and understanding of technology needs the basic knowledge of using that has to be there. But at the same time, we're not really too concerned, because in this age, how many of you don't have a cell phone? How many of you don't have a smartphone? The processes are the same. You open an app, you scan this, you click a few buttons, you click a few things on your screen. So the processes are there. That's one. But what I can tell you from our other parent SATs in Singapore, so they are a bit, like I mentioned earlier, they're also quite technologically driven. So we're trying to have some of these things here in Malaysia. So one of it is virtual reality on the ground. So they have it's something similar like Google Glasses. So when they wear these glasses, they can actually scan the cargo there, and all the information will pop up. Where it's going, what's the cargo, when's the next flight, all the critical information needed for that cargo to move to location it's going. It's there. So that's something that we are looking to try and bring in here into our operations in Malaysia. It's still a work in progress. Also, from a talent point of view, I think the key thing here is for them, they need to be resilient. At the end of the day, times move very fast, especially now in the digital age. So, try to just have an open mind when it comes to work, because that's what will help you in this day and age.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So next panel on the future of work.
I think, Jeff, I agree with you. The adoption of digital has really asked us to really rethink about how we see talent moving forward. And coming from the drone industry, this let's be honest, right? When this industry did not exist 10 years ago, it only started to become mainstream 5 to 6 years ago. So if you were to say what do you do, I'm a pilot, that would imply an actual aircraft pilot. But right now, if you say what do you do, I'm actually a pilot, that could also mean that you are a drone pilot, a certified drone pilot, right? Correct. So that's how fast the technology, the adoption of technology has come. However, I don't think this is the end yet. I do believe that I'm a firm believer that in the next 3 to 5 years we don't even need pilots to fly drones. Let's be honest, right? I mean, the industry is moving towards autonomous drones, and with the advent of autonomous drones, we need to really rethink about, okay, how do we then see people who want to come into the drone industry? What kind of talent, what kind of skill sets do you actually need? Do you actually need to do the physical flying? Perhaps not, moving forward, right? And but the pilots who initially came on board with us at the very beginning were actually retrained engineers, because they were inspection engineers to begin with, right? So they, for example, the electrical engineers, they work with electricity power companies, etc. They were doing physical manual inspections, but then again they have evolved into being able to fly drones and do this, apply their skill sets in this digital age. However, moving forward in the next 3 to 5 years, again, there is another pivot. I foresee this another pivot, that perhaps pilots need to pivot into stuff like being able to project manage, being able to input into artificial intelligence, or what you really want this AI to inspect, for example, because all this will be controlled via artificial intelligence. So I think from a talent perspective, moving forward, I think the people who will be able to adapt in this field will be able, or are the people who are multi-skilled, right? Not gone are the days where I think you specialize in one field and one field only, and your skill sets are miles deep and inch wide. But the future, I think, if I'm being honest here, would belong to the polymaths who are who have some depth in various fields. With the advent of people like Elon Musk, for example, who is adept in running multiple types of companies in multiple various industries. So I think these are the people who are going to be the future of our talent pool moving forward. And also, I think the other point that I would like to add is that I don't think this is a far-fetched idea, because the advent of internet just really puts knowledge at your fingertips, right? So gone were the days where you really have to focus on one topic and one topic only, because of the scarcity of knowledge. But right now, knowledge is everywhere. It's just a click of a button. It's in your pocket. The whole world is in your pocket. So I think moving forward, people will have multi-skills to run the world.
Yeah, drone was a pretty interesting industry where it started. I mean, like only for the army was using it, very secret missions, and then suddenly there's a big shift that people that who has a hobby in flying these, and then it's converted in a hobby where it's kind of a high end expensive hobby that you need to purchase for it if you want it. And then out of sudden that all the photographers just start using it, the drone, capturing the videos, the wedding, the receptions and whatever thing, events and so on. And now you really can say drone had helped the whoever that had the particular hobby to monetize on your passion. That is really that it's become a job nowadays. Then it's really like kind of interesting to discuss further on that. But then we moved to the next engineer Abdurrahman, you wanna add on your view?
Yeah. So I agree with the Mr. Jeffry and also Mr. Amir Zakwan just now. But in the healthcare industry is quite different because we are dealing with the conventional method of dealing with the people health and life. Okay, so we have something like, I can say, gatekeeper. I believe in all country around the world they have a gatekeeper. Like Malaysia, we have a medical device authority in Ministry of Health. Because it's very critical. We are dealing with the life of the people, we're dealing with the health of people. If there any misinterpretation of the monitoring device, it may be jeopardized or risk, giving a risk, a very high risk to the people life. Nevertheless, I can say currently people are going towards to have the efficient devices, can give the very high accuracy to monitor their health. For example, we have the smartwatch right now. You can see this is how we migrate from the conventional method of dealing or monitoring your life to the more digitalized to monitor your life, your health. So with that, this will not come over the night. Okay, we have to prepare our talent pool, which is currently industry are moving to as a smart device manufacturer like Huawei, Apple. They're providing the platform to monitor your health and your life quality. But moving towards, I believe, which is already implemented in other industry, we in healthcare industry we will go to the SaaS. I do not know if anybody here aware about this or familiar about it. SaaS is software as a services. Once you have the platform, then we need to create a software to embed it or to streamlining with the platform. Once we have this software, then we go towards to the ASP. We call it ASP, it's application service provider. Once you have the software, you need to have the service provider. So that the quality of healthcare or life monitoring in our industry will be more successful. So in terms of the talent preparedness, I can say, especially maybe Prof. Ibrahim can comment after this, the preparation of our higher education institute to prepare our talent moving towards to this kind of approach. So meaning that we need to have some sort of critical thinker and also the innovators to provide the platform to the services. And also we need to have a developers for the software. And also we need to have a very good environment so that or to create the opportunities for other current service provider to use the platform and the software developed by our talent in our country. So that is from my point of view.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Prof. Ibrahim. How does this future of work strategy have impact in terms of developing the new curriculum for the undergraduates, as preparing them as a pipeline for the to the supply as for the supply?
Right. Thank you, Selvan. Okay. Now, thank you to IR Abdul Rahman as well for posing the questions on the challenge that IHL has in order to develop this so-called talent requirement for the future. Now, if I can sort of backtrack a bit, before I sort of go and address the question. Now, when we look at addressing the talent for the future, right? There are two angles that the changing in terms of the work approach in the future. You know, when we look at it, there are two sides of it. One is the employer side, one of the employee side. Yeah. Now, in the employer side, as we now realize because of the pandemic, right? The employer now realize that one of the biggest problem they had is when you suddenly realize that you do not need to have everybody so-called on board, when you do your operation, because you can have that flexibility of working from home because the platform now is availability, and the fact that quite a number of the work previously you do by actually getting people to do it, you can now actually automate them. Yeah, because you are forced to do a lot of things, yeah, out of automation. So I guess going into the future, these are some of the issues that I believe employer would think about. Yeah, in-house versus outsourcing. I guess in the future, probably company would only house core competent people to actually help to run the organization, while they will source out more in terms of whatever services that they could have from the business community out there. Now, when you look at this perspective, right, then you would see when you develop a talent in order to prepare them, yeah. Of course, the talent that you prepare for the conventional requirement of the employer, right? You need to sort of ask them better in terms of exposing them into the technology of digitalization. Yeah, they need to know data analytics more. They need to be able to appreciate big data, and they've got to appreciate artificial intelligence and the whole lot of the technology out there. Now, the other side is the employee, right? Which I believe this will be bulk of the people somewhere along the line as we get into the future. Now, the graduates that goes out, yeah, has to sort of first and foremost be more competitive. Yeah, they've got to be more competitive because the world is going to be more competitive as we go forward. Yeah, in terms of getting their career on board. Secondly, I agree with one of the panel just now when you talk about, I think Amir was saying that breadth versus depth. Yeah. Now, you cannot just have a very small breadth and like a very deep depth, yeah, in terms of your skill set, because very soon you can be rendered outdated, right? So you got to have that breadth as well as the depth. But I think when going forward, right, a lot of the skills that university normally impart in terms of the disciplines, yeah, of the program that they conduct, that will provide the depth that is generally required within that field. But the breadth, I think, where Amir is referring to is more towards understanding the movement of business within a certain area in a big manner, yeah, so that you are able to relate and then go towards where it is more relevant for you to be in, yeah, and that will enable the students to be more versatile. So there comes to the importance of actually getting them or skill them up to embrace on long life learning, right? Getting your degree and graduating from a university, that should not be the end of your learning, right? As you go out from the university, you need to continuously update yourself with the progress, yeah? Not only in terms of technology, but also in terms of all other things, yeah, geopolitics, so that you have a better a view of the world in order to drive, yeah, your career or your business depending on what you do, yeah. And this is where, based on this perspective, right, the university is now trying to equip the student more. Although we have disciplines in terms of the program that we offer, but we now inject a lot more in terms of courses as well as projects, yeah, that relates to sustainability, that relates to big data analytics, artificial intelligence. So we allow students to actually build their knowledge, yeah, and do projects within those areas in order to equip them for the future, yeah, in terms of the technology development. Now, on top of that, the university also realized, right, the soft skill of the students needs to be built as well, right? In fact, we've realized that long time ago, because industry always tell the university that the technology-wise, they're okay, if not good, yeah. But we need people who can do better communication, who can relate things, who understand business, who can, do good analysis, critical thinking. So these are the things that we have been developing since UTP came in existence. Yeah, because those are the feedback that we got from the industry a long time ago. But now, going forward, it makes it even more important for us to develop the students into entrepreneurism. Yeah, because coming back to where I described earlier, yeah, when you have a situation where the students may sort of pack together and then go and build a company to do something from which, right, the main company can source in, can outsource services to them, right? So we need more of this kind of activity, or rather to be done by the students, by the graduates. Yeah. So we have to also develop them, and at UTP we are working. We have something like not exactly a formal training, but we built, right, modules where the student can take at their liberty. Yeah, that give them exposure, interaction with entrepreneurs. Yeah, to develop this entrepreneurship within themselves. In fact, we have some of our graduates who have been quite successful in opening up companies and run businesses. So that is my 2 cents.
Okay, thanks, Prof. Any other panel want to add on, or you missed out any point that while you presenting, you want to add on? Okay. Before we move to the second question, all right, I have a question from the viewer, from Ismat. If we do implement the automation in future, how we will overcome the issue of job that will not sufficient due to the job loss, and also the increase of human population in Malaysia? I open up to anyone to maybe that from industry, that how when you start doing your automations. Okay,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll take that one. Yeah. So I think one point that I wanted to make clear is that automation is inevitable, right? This is part and parcel of how we see the future. Inevitably, a lot of jobs that we know now will be replaced by automation, artificial intelligence, etc. And this has been the case throughout human history, right? When we had the agricultural revolution, we had machines replace farmers, right? When we had the industrial revolution, we had we had factory robots replace humans. It's the same thing, right? With IR 4.0, it's the same thing. Robots and automation will inevitably take up jobs that were typically done by humans. But I think the bigger question here is that, okay, so now we know that this is inevitable. What do we do now? So the big thing is that a lot of jobs that we know exist now will have to be rethought about the shape and form in the next couple of years, in the next 5-10 years, whatever, right? For example, my job, for example, as a head of investment, for example, a head of strategy and investment, may be replaced moving forward by an algorithm. For example, if let's say there is proof of value that artificial intelligence can make better financial decisions than humans, then perhaps my job will be replaced. But I guess the bigger question is that, what am I going to do about it now that I know that there is going to be that headway of maybe another 5, 10, 20 years, right? Depending on which view you subscribe to. I guess this is going back to going back to Prof's a point about lifelong learning, right? And universities give you some level of depth in terms of the subject matter that you whatever, whether it's chemical engineering or robotics or life sciences, economics, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the people need to be able to understand how to learn and unlearn new things as technology develops, because at the end of the day, technology develops really, really fast. Things that were relevant 6 months ago could have been obsolete 6 months down the road, for example, right? And planned obsolescence is a thing where technology is made obsolete within 12 months, 24 months, whatever. So I guess from a people perspective, going back to the root of the question, how do we then address this issue when there are shortages in terms of some of these positions with increasing population. So I guess this automation, this move to automation needs to also be aligned to the readiness of talent, right? When there is a disconnect between automation and also the readiness of talent, this is where you have severe adoption problems, right? When you have something so advanced but your people are not ready to man it, you have a disconnect. At the end of the day, to me, I'm a firm believer that it needs to move hand in hand. The technology and the people need to move hand in hand. Whether or not it's in Malaysia or overseas, if let's say there is a shortage, for example, in a certain country, what other technology giants have done is they import, right? So, for example, in the US, for example, they do have a lot of talent in the technology space, but at the end of the day, they still outsource a lot of the legwork to India, to China, for example, right? The actual coding of stuff is outsourced to other countries because they believe that internally in the US they want to focus on the more higher order thinking stuff, right? So for example, your iPhone that you own is designed in the US. It's specifically said on the box it's designed in the US, but it's manufactured in China, right? Because at the end of the day, the people that are in the US focus on the higher order stuff and then they outsource. Again, this is a strategy. I'm not saying whether it is a right strategy or not, but it is a strategy that works for Apple, right? So I think if let's say there is not enough talent, like I said, there's a disconnect between how fast the technology moves and the readiness of people. There are a few options, right? So importing talent is one of them, but importing is expensive, right? So the best way really for a sustainable pipeline of talent is in-house, right? This is where I believe, I agree with Prof that some of these really need to be ingrained with our own talent pipeline. Right? This is where I think universities, institutions of higher learning, even going back to schools, have a bigger role to play in prepping the talent of the future, and not just being industry ready, but ready for lifelong learning, because it's inevitable that we will have to unlearn and relearn and reskill, upskill as we go along. In the 40, 50 years of a person's career, no longer are the days where, if you were trained as a banker, you will retire as a banker. I think, this is in this day and age and where the industry is moving. I think if you, let's say, start off as a banker, you could retire as an engineer, for example, because you have multiple pivots along the way, because you have upskilled and reskilled as you go along. So I think I'll stop there. I think I've said a lot already. Good to hear other views of other panelists as well.
My personal view, when the job are being automized, one job lost, considered as a one job lost, and there always will be another new job born. There's a new sectors on that. Any other panel that want to add on to the question as well as the answer?
Just like to add on a little bit on also what Amir said. You see, the question was, he was worried about automation and the population is growing. Again, like I agree. I mean, automation is inevitable with technology. So the same thing also, I mean, says technology gets outdated very fast. 6 months, 3 months, you never know how fast. Look at your handphones, for example. But don't to whoever asked the question just now, don't be too worried about what job is available when you leave university. Okay, 10, 15 years ago, actually 10 to 15 years, everyone was talking about social media management, social media marketing. But if you ask someone 20 years ago, what is social media? That thing didn't exist. So don't be too worried about whether the job will be available for me, whether it won't be available. Like you also mentioned, jobs itself will evolve. When one door closes, another door will open. Okay, I give you an experience from my own personal experience. My ex-boss, he was the Minister of Transport. But before he was a Minister of Transport, before he was a member of Parliament, he was also a press secretary. So I did some of the roles of a press secretary, and he asked me, "You guys have it harder than I did. Now information is available at your fingertips. If I text you, you respond immediately. social media, we have to be very important with what we say. So, that's just a gap of 10 to 15 years. Now it moves faster, but don't be too worried that, when one job becomes obsolete, more jobs will open up. At the same time, you talk about, he asked about the increasing world population and all that. New things will come, new jobs that didn't exist today will suddenly become the norm tomorrow. So this is where, again, it comes down to industry and learning institutions need to work together to shape talent to be more well-rounded, to be more, what would I say it? To be more, to be an all-rounder in the sense that anything can happen. Like Amir said, you can graduate as a banker, you can start your career as a banker, but you finish as an engineer. It's nowadays the workplace, your job is very dynamic. So to who asked the question just now, don't be too worried about that. Jobs will come. Yes, it will get more competitive. Yes, there will be more automation. You cannot deny that. But there will be jobs. It's just that sometimes don't worry too much because the job that you might be doing tomorrow does not exist yet today.
True.
Jeff, you done?
Yeah, I'm done, please.
Okay. All right. I just want to add something about this question. Basically, yes, Jeff, Amir had addressed this very well. Yes, we need to work concurrently between the higher learning institution and also the industry. But on the industry point of view, I quite interested with what had been mentioned by Prof. Ibrahim just now, or about the entrepreneurship. Okay, so yeah, the technology had moving very fast. Every 6 months it can be changed. Okay, but the thing is, we have a lack of the entrepreneurs, of the person that able to create the high value industry in the market. Okay, there's this I'm feeling that there's need to close the gap. Okay, beside higher learning institution, the industry also must brave enough to involve in the high tech industry, the high value industry, so that this I can say the young graduate, when they embark into the industry, we can slowly train them with the current technology, and hopefully we can able to prosper our economy going towards the high tech technology industry. So beside this creating the high value industry, um, we need some sort of person, or I can say the community that support each others. Okay, we need to brave enough. Okay, we need to able to explore new things. We need to learn every day. Every day is new things. We need to keep reading what happening around the globe. Okay, so that we can be updated, and of course, I don't know, this is too much, but we need also to what we call it, eliminate the red tape on the government level. I mean, to prosper all the high-tech industry, to make it easy for the industry to adapt or adopt a new technology industry. So that is the things that I want to add.
Okay. Thanks, Engineer Abdurrahman. Let's say we are moving on to the next question. As a pandemic also, highlighted how the vital part of the future resilience will be brokering into the of the talent, and this is also taking a broader view of the skill reside, the view of the what skill are required. As per talent trend data reveal that even before the crisis, employee as well as the HR differ over the what skill are and will be relevant. So this was like we were discussing. We really can see from the World Economic Forum that they keep posting what will be the future skill. Innovation was top of the employees list as a hot skill for 2020 until 2025. And this also that reinventing that many acknowledge that the stick yard needed to the change as well as a response to the future. Now, in any crisis or even COVID-19, we really can say that COVID or even before the economic crisis that we had it earlier, had promoted for change. It trapped the lower productivity as also declined margin. Many business models struggle to create a space for innovation, leaving employee frustrated. I mean, like, everything was been squeezed up, everything. Organizations respond to the pandemic as birth extraordinary cross-industry collaborations. This is also including the industry academic collaboration that is also that booms up. Um, some even say that the digital skill, design thinking, entrepreneurship, and innovation will be a crucial skill of the post-pandemic. And the challenge will be to sustain the quickly constructed structure and cultural infrastructure to foresee the truth of ingenuity. Now, to maintain the momentum of a change that COVID has brought, unwittingly, that it is a table, um, a change to focus the skill and enable us to build a better, to build back our ground. Now, with this, I would like to ask the panel some of the tips, especially for the current undergrad or the young professional or whoever that unemployed, retrenched, and all that. That how to embrace the new norm and how they can develop, to be fit into the current situations. Anyone can start.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm dealing a lot with the freelancing. So this is some tips. Okay, freelancing people. We are creating a job based on demand. Okay. I believe our graduate is not too bad. They are skillful. Okay. The thing is, the opportunity is not there. In order for them to uplift their skills into industry. So there is a lot of platform currently that available in the market for you to project yourself in the freelancing activities. It's quite good. It's quite a good start for the young graduate to adapt this new norm. Start with the freelancing because to be honest, it's quite challenging right now on job market. Yes, Jeff said. Don't worry about the job loss, everything. But I believe this is what happened in our fresh graduate. They are very worried after they graduate. What will be what will happen to them? Is it they can secure a job? Is it they can contribute, or by then they become a food panda rider, for example, even though they are engineers. But again, for me, we should not waste the skills that they already developed in universities. I believe our university is quite good because. I have dealing with some of from the local university and from overseas university doing the freelancing job. Basically, they're able to adapt very fast. Maybe they are tech savvy, so that they are very quite familiar with the current software. So thanks to the universities, some universities have provided a very good talent development to our young graduates. I just want to add a little bit more on the healthcare and healthcare industry. In healthcare industry, the main things that we are doing in our industry is first we are doing the R&D. I give you for example like vaccine right now. They are full with R&D. We need to do clinical testing. We need to develop the formula whatsoever. It's very hard to say that the researcher can do the what we call it freelancing. So this is where the collaboration effort need to be done between the industry and also the higher learning institution. So from here, I believe maybe again our higher learning institution can do some sort of collaboration of providing the freelancing to do the R&D activities with the industry. The second one in the medical device industry or healthcare industry, we cannot run away from the design and manufacturing because especially in Recove Group Berhad, we are manufacturing the medical device. So manufacturing, we still need to have a talent, especially on nowadays they are more demanding on the more ergonomic design, more feasible design, feasible to manufacture design, so that we can reduce the waste. So of course, this kind of talent, currently the trend, I can say, because of the business are going to do some sort cost-cutting initiative, the freelancing is quite good platform for our graduate to start with, you know. And also currently I believe all the young graduates well known in the social media. We are selling things and do our marketing using the influencing people to market our product, so that they can create a job that maybe some of them, even though they are engineers, they are very good in video editing, can start looking a job that can edit the video, do some sort of copywriting. This is what the new norm that I can say our fresh graduate to adapt to. So Selvan, that is from my short perspective.
But on top of what you're saying, that I'm hearing a lot of freelancing, you know, the word freelancing. Now in the Malaysians or young graduates mindset, how do we instill this particular, you know, it's okay to take freelancing job, you know, that we are committed that no, once you finish the graduating, we must go and get a job that is, you know, have an office, you have a factory, that you have an institution. That, you know, how do we set this mindset it's okay to have freelancing job? How do we promote this?
I do collaborate with some universities that we some sort, I can say, promote, saying that since they are still learning in the our universities level, we already asking, hey, doctor or professor, do you have your good talents in your university to do a coding, for example, so that we have some sort of agreement saying that, okay, this is the rate per hours that we will pay, so that they need to create a enterprise company, or proprietorship company in universities. Then they start doing this small job, and then this is the things that we are trying to start with our universities. So when they're able to go along with this process, I believe that they are more comfortable when they already graduated from university, because they know how to deal. They know how to do it correctly. How they know how they can able to rate themselves, you know, based on their experience that they already have during the universities. So this is what I believe we can start with the universities, or whoever institution, whatever institution in our country. We need to have some sort of platform and promote it, and we start in small scale, and hopefully we can create a bigger scale later on.
Great. And for the viewers, whoever that have a questions, please post it in the and so that we can capture your questions, and we'll ask the panel to answer. All right, next move on with the other panel on the tips for the current undergraduate as well as the professionals, young professionals.
I think, you know, if I may, I think I don't think that it is fair to put undue pressure on institutions of higher learning to make sure that you know, talent is what I call market ready, right? So I think the role of, again, I did mention earlier on that I think institutions of higher learning, universities, can play a bigger role, but I think the context here is really preparing students to be able to be adaptable and continuously unlearn and relearn things. To put the onus on institutions of higher learning and also in universities to make sure that talent is market ready, I don't think is the right thing to do lah, I think personally, because at the end of the day, you know, a lot of you know, access to knowledge at the moment was, you know, is something that a lot of the previous generations did not have access to. It's a luxury to have the explosion of knowledge in our fingertips. You know, even before you finish your business degree, you can start a business already because you have undergone, you know, a Coursera course or a Udemy course, right? Or a masterclass by Bob Iger, for example, right? And all these things are available, you know, freely available. Some of them, of course, you have to pay, but small fee. as compared to what you have to undergo before, perhaps 10, 20 years ago, or maybe 30, 40 years ago, for example. It's just knowledge is everywhere. And I think the onus is really on the individual itself to really harness all this knowledge, to make sure that they are marketable. And at the end of the day, what do employers want to see, right? Employers, of course, want to see, okay, this is your pedigree. You have gone to a certain university, etc., prestigious. You've got your score, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, employees also want to see a well-rounded individual that is in touch with current issues, for example, has some level of depth in terms of certain topics. For example, if as we're talking about the movement of industry towards digitalization, etc., I think there is some expectation that at least what Internet of Things is, for example. Or it is to some, no need to be like super deep, but at least you understand some of the basic applications that some of this stuff do. Artificial intelligence, are you pro or against, the liberalization of AI, for example? Certain topics like this, right? And employees want to see that. And how do you do that is really because of the onus of the individual to really expose themselves to this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that it is hard to do so. It is very easy. It's all at the end of the day, it's on your phone, right? It's the whole world is in your pocket. So I think as a tip for younger professionals university students and younger professionals who are just about to embark on your career, if you don't want to listen to anybody else, perhaps my own experience, for example, and Jeff knows this. I went to university with Jeff. So I started off, and Jeff, please do confirm this. I did a bachelor's in medical bioscience, right? Life sciences, right? And then I did a master's in business. I went to work for a sovereign wealth fund doing investments, and now I'm in a drone company doing technology. So it's like, my life has been a series of pivots. And how did I do that? Is really I had to learn and unlearn a lot of new stuff. And I think this is really the trajectory of how talent is going to be moving forward. Like I said just now, and I do attest by what I say is really, you may start off your career as a banker or whatever, but you may have a different end goal as started. So I think it's really the adaptability here. It plays a big role. Be adaptable.
Yes, Amir. One more thing that I want to stress from what you were saying is the word collaborations. So the collaborations is between the stakeholders. Is need to be between industry, academia, as well as the particular person that who is involved. So particular talent itself. So this will be like a three angle kind of a collaboration, and also that this is supposed to be like supported by the government itself, that where giving a projection that where the direction of the country is moving, as well as the industry. So I believe that collaboration will be, I mean, it's already been established, as well as I think that moving forward, more collaborations, or more working from industry to academia will be taking place. I believe on
Of
that.
course, yeah, of course.
Next,
if I
okay,
may,
Jeff.
if I may step in, okay. My advice to the uni students who are ready, looking for a job, they'll be graduating in the next 1 year or so, or even in the next few months. Okay, my advice is very simple. Don't limit your learning. Be open-minded, because when you build your walls around what you know and you refuse to climb over these walls, it limits your marketability when it comes to the workplace. Like, for example, I've met in my line of work, I've met a guy, he has a master's in engineering, and he came to our walk-in interview to apply for to be a ramp agent. So a ramp agent in our line of business is the one that load bags or cargo onto the aircraft. And I asked him, you have a master's in engineering, why did you come here? Why do you apply for this job? He says, look, I really love aviation, but I don't want to do aviation engineering. I couldn't get to be a pilot. I wear glasses. This is the closest that I can be to aviation. And and I think it doesn't limit my capabilities. And true enough, when he was hired and we found out his background, more in depth about his background, we started giving him little projects to grow and bring strength to strength at the workplace. So don't limit, don't be first, don't limit your knowledge. Also don't limit the opportunities that might arise, because you never know. So again, Selva, the other thing, you and I, we both were at Talent Corp at the same time.
Yep.
And we talk about soft skills a lot back then. And as cliche as it may sound, it's actually very important, because in my line of work, I've also met graduates who are extremely book smart. They have 4 flat CGPAs and whatnot, but they don't know how to bring their ideas out. They don't know how to talk in that sense. So if my other advice to students is also, if you have the chance, public speaking helps. Try and talk to, take the initiative to approach some people, to approach experienced professionals. Ask them for advice, ask them for tips, because everyone has different experiences, and it doesn't matter what you studied, what you graduate in. To me, what's important in the graduate is your willingness to adapt and your willingness to learn. And again, like Amir said just now, also, we both graduated from Monash about the same time. We also did our postgraduate together in Australia. So Amir came from life sciences, and we did a course for extra credit. We did marketing. Amir, do you remember that?
Yep.
And he coming from a science stream and doing a full-on business subject, and it was quite an intense course. It was a bit of a shock, but what he didn't know, he asked me. What I didn't know, I asked him. And by having that communication and conversation, we actually scored very, very well for that paper. I think we scored a 24 over 25 just for our assignment. So it's already, it was very rare. But I believe that when Amir from a different field, myself from a different field, when there's communication and conversation and that willingness to learn and understand from different point of views, that's actually what's going to help you in the workplace.
Okay. Last but not thanks, Jeffrey. Last but not least, Prof. Ibrahim.
Okay. Being the last, it's not so pleasant, I guess. You are run out of idea. The whole lot of the good suggestions have been given by all the fellow panel. Maybe I would like to touch on one thing. Coming back to the point where Engineer Abdul Rahman was saying earlier, the high level or high value entrepreneurship, right? This is where I would probably like to sort of recommend the current graduates. Yeah, you may want to consider doing postgrad. Yeah, postgrad on the area where you just have to make sure when you do postgrad, it must be the area that you have passion, right? Because if you have passions, you will explore it, not just for the sake of doing the project or the research, but also for the sake of fulfilling your desire of knowledge. Yeah, that would take you very long and very deep. And while at the same time, of course, you need to also build around the perspective around the area that you do, so that you understand how does the world or the business revolve around what you do. Yeah, and that will actually help you to take on higher in terms of going to the high level entrepreneurship. Now, as far as job disappear, job created, I think somebody, was it Amir? I think Amir, you raised about the industrial revolution, the agricultural revolution, right?
Yep.
At the point of time, I believe if you live during the agricultural revolution, right, then you will see, oh, there goes my job, because the machine is taking over. But what we see, yeah, as those revolution comes in, the job goes higher level and higher level and higher level, and as a matter of fact, you will see a lot more jobs are actually created. So when we talk about job losses, I think we are thinking from our current perspective. We can't see yet what's going to happen in the future. Yeah, and I think inshallah, as the economy picks up back, there'll be a lot more jobs of higher value that will be created. But the question is whether we are ready or not to actually go and fetch for those jobs. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll end up taking talent from overseas. Yeah. So the country has to prepare for its talent. So that is my sort of my recommendation, because I see a lot of in America, in UK, in Australia, right, the developed countries, their students tend to go a lot more doing postgraduate because they build more knowledge, more in-depth skills and in-depth knowledge in the area that they have passion, and that's where you will see, as Engineer Abraham earlier said, the high-level entrepreneurship will come in. Yeah, so we'll start migrating into a higher-level job. I think that's my perspective. Just to add on to my fellow panelists.
Thanks, Prof. Prof, I've been hearing that you say that go with your passion. Now, with the current situation that a lot of unemployment and going on, and a lot of need of a job, how does this particular talent should position themselves, either to go after the passion or go after the current to address a current need? So how do you assist them in these kind of situations?
That is a very tricky and very difficult question to answer. Yeah. Passion.
No, it just come across my mind that how do we do that?
I guess, Selvan, right? I guess the onus is on the person to decide. Yeah. I would imagine your passion will fall into something. Yeah. Because if you look at the needs of the world, the needs of the community, it is far wide. Now, the question is, can you relate your talent with the needs of the community? Yeah. And then you see how do you. I think Amir would be much better than me to describe, because he actually goes with his passion, right? His talent move from one area to another. Yeah, but I think he would be a better guy to actually talk about this. Yeah, so it's a question of how do you create the synergy between your passion and what the community needs. The passion will give you the strength to drive. Yeah, if you do something that you don't like, you just do it for the sake of just fulfilling the current needs. As I agree, you still get some you still earn something for you to continue your life, but I bet it's not going to not going to continue long. But you do it out of your passion and you're able to connect, right? You may be a food panda rider today, but with the knowledge you have, you'll be something else, I don't know, maybe you speak to Amir, and then later, instead of doing the conventional food panda by motorbike, you send the food by drone. These are the things that is possible. But
it's possible to happen.
If you have the passion, stretch your mind to think, and you stretch your desire and ability to do more. Yeah. So that's my take. Yeah, Selvan.
Thank you, Prof. Amir, you wanna comment on that?
No, I think a lot of good points have been already mentioned. I think the key points at the end of the day is keep an open mind. A lot of jobs. Don't worry so much about jobs, because what will come out is stuff that you probably haven't even imagined at the moment. And perhaps maybe we are looking at this from a current lens. So I think moving forward, the as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to mention it again, I think the future belongs to the polymaths, right? And the term polymath is really the people who are in tune with multiple disciplines of knowledge, multiple bodies of knowledge, right? And not just one, making it very difficult to adapt moving forward. And again, so the polymath need to be created now. And again, every individual has the potential to become their own polymath. Just be open, be adaptable with new bodies of knowledge, which are really at the end of at the end of your fingertips.
Okay. All right. And we are taking one question from the participant. Can someone with a different background study want to join management department, and what skill they needed? This is from Muhammad Azraai.
Okay,
I
so
okay.
if I can answer that,
Okay.
it really doesn't matter what your background is at the end of the day. I'll give you my own personal journey. I graduated with a degree in business. I worked in a super government agency that looked to address talent. I moved to politics and the government, and now I'm in aviation. So, and I'm obviously management here in aviation. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you study, because you will learn in your workplace as you go along. There's always on the job learning. Wherever you can. Don't limit to whoever asks the question. Don't limit your imagination. Don't limit your career. You can always look at Amir. He was in a sovereign wealth fund, and now he's in drone industry. That's as good as an example as you're gonna get, how anyone can shift industries, shift profession, so to speak, when you don't limit yourself. That's really the most important. Don't limit yourself.
Engineer Abdul Rahman, I believe that you have climbed from total technical to the management level. So maybe that you want to share your experiences.
Okay. Again, the motivation of the people will boost up when they have some sort of challenges. Okay, that's the things that I still keep into my mind until today. So I want to address the question first. So a different background can join the management department. Yes, I agree with Jeffrey. Okay, you no need to have a very specific background to join management to join the management department. And what is the skill that you need? Basically, the management they need the ability to make other people to work together. That is very important. Okay, as a management, you must make sure that every people in your organization able to work together without any conflict. So based on my experience, from my pure experience in the technical engineering, if like Selvan already explained a little bit background about me, I'm from the technical person, then I'm going to manage the project. When you're dealing with the project, you're dealing with a lot of people. You are dealing with the multidisciplinary people. So from there, I'm climbing up my career, become a project manager, and finally, just to fulfill my entrepreneurship passion, I go back to the Prof Ibrahim mentioned just now, the passion. I open up my own company, and I really go into the niche market, which is healthcare and medical device industry, which is not there is people or competitors inside the market, but there's not very encouraging in Malaysia, so that we enter into the niche market so that we can have less competitors. And after that, with that passion, even though in very hard time right now in pandemic COVID-19, because of the passion, it drives me to still keep the good momentum on my companies. Okay, so I believe don't worry so much. If you very interested to join management department, we need a lot of people to manage the people, because not easy to manage the people. So
Totally true.
keep emphasize or keep learning the new skills and deal with a lot of people. Don't shy to ask a question, get the tips, then you're able to gain your skills, and hopefully you can join the management department later.
That's great tips that we are sharing with it. Anyone else that for the final, because we are catching up with the time. Any last word that Any panel that want to share?
Selvan, if I can drop just
Yes,
a quick one.
Yep,
I think when Azraai asked, he wanted to join the management department. Yes, you can join the management department, and depending on which entry you do, right? You see, what happened was, even I am a chemical engineer. I have the same technical background. I'm an engineer, right? But as you work, right, the work that you do initially will be very technical at the very expertise level that you had. But as you go up, right, you tend to go into management. So you have to do that. You cannot run away from it. As a matter of fact, managing people, I think it's the hardest. It's better to work as an engineer and manage technical rather than manage people. Manage people is not so easy. It's difficult. So you got to have different skill set that you learn as you develop your skills. But don't be afraid, because at the end of the day, it's something that you can pick up along the way. Right?
It's a human connection.
That's right. It's about managing human relation. Yeah.
Yes.
Another thing is coming back to the problem with regards to the current situation of difficulty of job, economic. But always remember, we have had economic cycle goes up and down for the last 100 over years. Yeah. Even you have seen that economy continue to go up and down. This is a cycle which every people have to go through, right? So don't lose hope, right? Hang on there, keep your faith, keep your chins up, right? Continue to do what you are good at, and inshallah, somewhere along the line, the economic cycle will pick up back. But of course, you must be ready for that. I think that is my kind of advice. Yeah.
Okay. Any other panel? Last word. And we don't have any questions from the viewer. All right. So if we don't have any questions or any additional things, let me let me put everything in a summarize. And there is no doubt that a workplace is undergoing the multifold transformations. Organizations are realizing that this a new way of working is possible, and HR team are exploring newer way in managing team as well as the talent. The new norm is here, and it's going to stay longer. All right. So we must embrace ourselves is more on the with the new norm. If there is a one major takeaway from this particular session as well as year 2020, I will say that it is always expect the unexpected, and at the same time always be open, adaptable, resilient, as well as being agile to change, no matter how rapid it hits you. So this is what I'm seeing, what I learned from year 2000 with the industries and all that. So 4 key things is be open, and this is also I'm hearing from the discussion itself. Be open, adaptability, resilient, as well as agility. All right. So with this, I would like to thank our viewers, the participants, especially our panels, answering to the questions as well as the sharing their thoughts as well as the knowledge, and to our sponsors as well as the organizer to make this particular forum to a successful one. Hope our path will come across for the next session in the near future. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day ahead. All right. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
To those of you who have come in search of answers, seeking inspiration and looking to achieve your aspiration, this is the place where you will learn to find the answers, where you will be motivated to discover your inspiration, where you will be propelled to realize your aspirations. With today's global challenges, the role of the engineer, the scientist, and the technologist is transformed from being the technical innovator into being the agent of global change. Our world-class resources and faculties, our cutting-edge facilities, our global partnerships with leading universities, our strong network with industry for internships and job placements, our worldwide research collaboration. These are the inspirations and the opportunities at UTP. Here, we nurture the analytical skills and intellectual capabilities of all who walk the UTP path. Here we culture the ethics and the attitudes that will shine in the real world. Here we expose ourselves to what it truly means to be human, to be a valuable part of society, to be the empowered people, the game changers who will light up the path towards a better world and change lives for the better. At UTP, the torch is firmly in your hands. So hold it up high and let us together light it and let it burn brightly. Join us to seek inspiration and achieve your aspiration towards global prominence.